Innovative Practice, prepared by Adam Frost for KIN 586 and Dr. Shauna Taylor, April 27th, 2018. The purpose of this assignment was to plan and run an innovative practice, record the practice, receive athlete feedback on how the practice went, reflect upon the practice, and then draw some conclusions. So in this presentation, we are going to provide a little bit of context as to why we chose the practice that we chose, talk a little bit about the research as behind what our innovation was. We'll show some video clips of the actual practice. We'll interview one of the athletes and get some feedback on how the practice went. We will reflect upon my impressions about the practice, and then we will conclude it at the end. So Wheelchair Rugby in Canada has been evaluating its next generation players by using the gold medal profile for the last couple of years. One of the performance indicators described in the gold medal profile that was identified as a gap for many of the athletes in the Next Gen program was their court awareness. Some of the key descriptors that describe court awareness for wheelchair rugby are anticipation, understanding where all the players are on the court, and matchups. Without getting into too much detail, you can see an example of poor court awareness in this video clip. Have a look at the inbounder and the female player to his left and where they are both located on the court when the turnover occurs. It is a fact about some of the Next Gen athletes that they did not compete in team sports in their early stages of development. These athletes transitioned into wheelchair rugby after acquiring their ability, often through lack of choice for competing in sports, and recently I think because people are starting to hear about wheelchair rugby before they acquire their disability, so they're interested in trying it afterwards. Anyway, I believe that Farrow says in developing sport expertise that if the athlete does not acquire skills early in life, they may never get to an elite level. I believe that this could explain the challenge faced in addressing the gap of court awareness in some of the Next Gen athletes. So when I've been running my practices, one approach I've always tried to take comes from Vickers and her decision-based approach. And I've always tried to put athletes in a position where they have to make decisions, because even though it may take them longer to improve through this method, I think that they will be better athletes in the long run. However, I've been coaching many of these athletes that way for some time, so if I don't try something new, we may not see any improvement. My inspiration for these practices really came from one of the presentations that Dave gave on gaze control, and he had us watch two YouTube videos, the Ronaldo video and the Vickers Quiet Eye hockey goaltending video. And it got me thinking that perhaps the reason, or one of the reasons for this lack of court awareness was, in fact, that the athletes were not looking in the right areas often enough and able to pick up the right cues from what they were looking at. As well, another study I read by Martel showed that gaze control of elite team sport tactics have shown that elite players are faster at making decisions than non-elite players, and that these decisions are of a higher quality. Given that these athletes started later in life, and it's possible that they may never get to that elite level. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't mean I don't want to try to help get them there, even though the research suggests that they may not get there. So my goal with this this innovation is to try to get the athletes to understand that what they are looking at is important, and try to get them to understand that they need to start using cues and gaze control for anticipation and the other factors that make up court awareness. In a moment, a video of a baseline video is about to start. I apologize about the sound quality. I had planned to put audio over top of it. However, it wasn't working. In short, this practice is trying to, one of the athletes who's being invited to national team selections tends to make a few passing errors, so I'm trying to get him to work on his passing ability.
See him? Okay, so, yeah, right? So when he's over there, you definitely want to give him this part if you can. Alright, so can you see him? See him? Okay, Joel. Aim for his hands, Joel. Yes. Target, there you go. Nice.
So the innovative part of the practice plan really consisted of three different areas. First off, based on the video that we watched with Dave on Ronaldo and some of the other presentations that he made, particularly the one with the volleyball players picking up the number on the ball early before they were able to set the ball, inspired me to try to come up with an objective score for both anticipation and attention. So I mimicked or borrowed the the protocols from the video and the presentation that Dave gave. So the practice plan consisted of the athletes attempting to anticipate the location of the ball, basically closing their eyes and trying to make contact with the ball to steer it through a goal. They had 10 chances to do this and got a score out of 10. The other one was I drew some colored dots on a tennis ball and had them try to pick out the color of the ball and catch the ball, and this was to give them a score in attention. And then the final part of the practice was to just work a bit on press break and defense, but the person receiving the ball on the press break had to pick up the color on the ball before they looked at it. And my hope here was goes to athlete self-regulation in the fact that I don't expect them to necessarily become better wheelchair rugby players just because they can pick up a dollar on the ball or a dot on the ball. What I'm trying to get them to understand is that how focusing on a new or on something different while they're playing will help them to understand how they need to shift their focus and pay attention to cues, which has been the theme of this presentation.
Good. Okay, guys, so 3 parts to today's practice, okay? First part, we're just going to do a little bit of testing, and we'll explain what that is. It's really something you've probably never done before. It's not going to be complicated, but I'm just tracking it anyway. Part 2, we'll be working on a little bit of defense, wheel position, so 1-on-2s. 2 defenders trying to tie up 1 offensive person. And then part 3, we'll be working a little bit on dynamic offense, and we'll be setting up a situation where offense has to decide whether they're going to commit to the screen or transition to the give and go, and then break the press from there. Okay? So for those of you who were here at last practice that we ran, you'll know that I started talking a little bit about gaze control and what you are looking at while you are on the court. Because I believe that what's the difference between really great players and good players are your anticipation and your attention. And there's research that suggests that what you're looking at and how long you're looking at it and how quickly you look at it enables you to perform better on the court. So what we're going to do that's a little bit innovative today is we're going to get you to be calling out colors on the ball when you're catching it.
So here is a video of the 2 testing protocols that I talked about. In the put the ball through the goal protocol, the maximum score was 10, the mean score was 5.2, highest score by anybody was 8, lowest score by anybody was 3. In the catching and picking the color of the tennis ball drill, maximum score was 20 with the mean score being 14, highest score was 19, and once again the lowest score was 3. Obviously, I think more testing will need to be done in order to establish norms before we can decide whether or not this data will actually be useful and can be used to judge anticipation and attention. So the timing of the interventions primarily occurred after the athletes had completed a few repetitions of the choose the color on the ball drill after it had been inbounded. Most of the feedback was about defensive positioning. Athletes were constantly reminded to identify the color of the ball, and lots of positive reinforcement was used during the drill.
Okay, so what we're going to have is we're going to have two defenders. So let's start with Cody and Terry. To start off between the two cones. Okay, and then one offensive player, either one. You're starting on the blue line. You're inbounding, Mr. Hirschfield, please. You go take charge. Okay. So here's the gig. You guys don't have to start out so far apart. Joel is going to start heading this direction. He has to either go left or right to catch the ball from Trevor. The moment he turns his chair one direction, you two can defend. And your trick is to try to corral him before he gets the ball over center. Okay? And ideally, as close to the sidelines as possible. Okay?
Like, we have to stay in the hole?
No, this is just your starting point, just for the drill. Okay? If Joel starts directing his chair immediately, you can go immediately. Okay? But if he comes straight at you and doesn't turn his chair, okay? Joel, you can't go below these cones.
To receive the ball?
To receive the ball. Okay? Because we're trying to keep our space from the inbounder. Okay? Okay? Yeah, if you commit, you commit. Okay? Yeah, we're not trying to fake out the drill here. Okay? It's about the defense. Remember, you're looking for the color on the ball. Trev! Hide the colors of the ball, Trev. So I can see the red one. All right, Joel, when you're ready. Okay, so Terry, what was your defensive positioning there?
I was going to try to cut him off this way.
Where's Joel going?
This way?
Right, we're inbounding here,
Yeah.
so he's scoring that direction.
So I'm going to get him off there.
Yeah. Okay, Pete. So rotate it. Yeah. Huh? What was the color of the ball? Anywhere you want. They just can't. What's that?
It makes a move, right? Defenders are stationary until it makes a move.
Doesn't make the move. Okay, so sorry, just to be clear about the purpose of the drill, you guys are trying to break half.
Yeah.
You guys are trying to defend it.
That's what I thought.
Okay?
But we didn't break half.
No. You're trying to break half.
Oh, we are? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't hear anything
Yeah,
you were
I
saying
know.
with your back.
Yeah.
So the goal is not to deny or whatever, it's really just to contain them.
Yeah.
Deny if you can, but really to just contain them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not trying to deny.
Okay.
Hey, when you're ready. Huh? Yeah, that's fine. You just can't. What was the color of the ball? Okay, next. No, this is what I want. It's about defense, not offense. Okay, next. Good job, defense. What was the color of the ball, Pete?
Red.
All right, what was the color of the ball, Joel? Is it green? Good job.
All right. I like the drill.
Let's go. No, you got to get the ball in.
Got it in.
Okay.
I think if I were to nitpick it,
Yeah.
you're going to come across people who try to beat the drill like ourselves.
Well,
I would just attack Terry the whole time.
that's fine. That's fine. That's what they should be doing. Yeah.
Right? He's a fucking drill. Right.
Yeah.
Part of it. Right?
Yeah.
That may be part of it, but I'm not really exploiting it.
All right, let's go one more. When you're ready, Pete. Okay. All right. Okay, stop it right there. Stop it right there. Bring it in, please. Color of the ball? Color of the ball? Okay. So the last couple were good. We were getting out of it what I wanted to get out of it. What I'm looking for in this drill is how defense is working together to corral the person with the ball, particularly when they get close to the sidelines, because the sidelines are obviously an extra defender, right? So Terry, talk me through that last one there.
Oh,
What,
okay, so when Peter came in, I went on top, Cody was under,
Yeah.
but then we ended up getting in a switch position. I think
you ended up underneath, and Cody ended up on top, right? So given the position of Joel, how do you think you want to position yourself to stop him from getting out of that area with the ball? No, with you, whoever. Yeah, sorry.
I probably want to be on top, right?
See?
Well,
Just given where you were,
yeah,
where do you think you want to position yourself? Please go kind of sit where you were, right?
behind.
Right, so Pete's here,
Yeah.
right?
So I want to
So,
be behind them,
well, right, so
ideally.
think about where Pete can go. Can he get through there, where your front end is, right?
I need
Right?
to go back this way.
So, if you position yourself kind of like this,
Yeah.
all you have to do is move forward a couple of inches if he tries to spin and come this way. Right? Cody, how do you want to position yourself?
That situation, I had wheel position on her when I turned.
Yeah, but that's because she was,
I was facing.
that's because she wasn't sure how to position herself.
Fair.
Okay? So is this kid wheel position now? Can Peter get out? Right? Okay? So this is kind of what we're looking for, right? We're corralling the person with the ball. We want to force the pass, right? Okay? When do you know it's time to leave, Terry? This situation.
When Cody tells me.
Okay? Let's pretend Cody's not going to tell you.
Then he has the ball as soon as the ball goes.
So there's a difference between before the ball comes in and after the ball comes in.
Okay.
So before on the inbound, Cody can tell you when to leave because he's looking at the inbounder.
Yeah.
But sometimes when the ball's already in, then sometimes you just gotta recognize when to leave.
Well, I would pretty much leave right away, yeah. Especially if he's past the ball. Like if the
Okay,
ball is
let's just pretend that this is a guy that's best player on the team,
yeah,
right? So when would you want to leave a double
I would not
in this
leave.
situation?
If he's the best player in the team, I wouldn't leave.
It's a loaded question. It's make sure
That's not a bad answer.
it's actually it's 75% right, I would say.
But the other option would be as soon as you know that he can no longer push over half within the 12 seconds,
Okay,
right? Because as soon as you know he has to pass,
right.
that's another opportunity for you to leave.
And as soon as he passes, though, would I leave at that point?
Once again, that might be on your team tactics, right?
If you remember in some of the games we said sometimes we lock down one and we stay with it,
Yeah.
and sometimes we leave. So it's a bit of a loaded question. But
Do you kind of have to know the guy, though? Like, you have to know how fast he is.
Yeah.
I get that. And we usually talk about it a little bit prior to the game, during the game, that sort of thing.
Right.
That's another thing Team Canada is implementing because they always want you to work for the next person.
Okay? So let's do a few reps with Joel and Terry on defense and you two staying on offense. Okay?
When they're attacking your side, instead of coming down this way, because we're getting the ball here, you're taking the top away, and now your guy who's coming to help knows where they need to help you, right? So if they curl up sideline, you're trying to take that away and push them back into your help, right?
Remember the overplaying we were talking about? So when you're responsible to cut off the sideline, like overshoot it so that your help knows where to help.
It's got to be about 12:30 because I see Fran. How long do you have? Well, are you staying until Fran's workout?
Yeah, I'm going to Fran's workout.
Okay. All right, when you guys are ready, let's go. Remember, we're looking for the color on the ball.
Right now to overplay sideline.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice, Terry.
Perfect.
There.
That's as good as that.
Terry is killing it.
That was great. That was good. That was good. That was good.
That's all she's
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Good job, defense.
Right?
What we're
That was
looking
really good,
for.
Trey. And if we stay committed on that double, make sure we know that we're hitting and turning, right?
Yeah.
If we're gonna stay consistent with that.
You can let them know.
Overplay sideline.
Right, Terry? You have to take an angle. Try and recognize when to take that angle so you can make sure you beat him to where he's trying to go to force him to turn back into Joel, okay? Next try. Green. All right. Good adjustment on the angles there, okay? Let's go, Pete. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Good, thank you. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Good.
So how long are you guys going to be?
When do you want to start with Joel?
Well, I have the guys at 2. I think my session wouldn't take any longer than in 45 minutes.
How much time do I have with him then?
Well, I have the guys at 2.
Well, I don't. Sorry.
Trevor's already.
So you're saying you want?
Trevor's already pretty warm, so
Yeah.
it should be easy. It should be ready to go. It's more or less. Gonna talk to Byron when he gets here.
Yeah.
I can decide if he wants to train first
Okay.
or focus on practicing his skills.
Yeah.
I would rather him focus on practicing his skills, get warmed up to his thing.
Yeah.
But I just want to, if I'm going to give just Joel the attention he needs and to give him time to kind of practice with this, the first time I've done this one, so Marnie's standards.
Yeah.
I figure it should be about an hour.
Okay.
And then the rest of the form, he's 18, right?
Yeah, he's 18.
Yeah, so he can sign his own stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to, I'll have to email it to him because I saved it electronically, so I'm going to do everything electronic today. And go from there. And then it's just a matter of once they're done playing volleyball downstairs, we have to reset up the space to measure up the wall.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Yeah. So you have the measurements, right?
Yeah, well, it's in Pat's email, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh.
That's okay. He knows the measurements. Okay. So I have the form there on my little pad. Okay. What's it called?
Okay.
But you send me that whenever.
Okay. Okay. Hey guys, so from a defensive perspective, right, Joel, you're always putting yourself in a denied position, but you're the faster player, right? So you probably want to put yourself in a contained position.
100%. Yeah.
Unless you know you can get to that ball first, and then let Terry worry about the underneath.
Yeah.
Because now you're trying to make poor Terry beat Cody up the sidelines,
Yeah.
whereas I would put myself in a position where I'm denying that and let Terry come in and clean up the back door. You know what I'm saying, okay?
Yeah.
So why don't you try that, okay?
When it comes to enhanced learning, I think that the participants were obviously fully engaged there. There was peer-to-peer support and buy-in to the drill. Obviously, the other coaches thought that the drill was being run well, and they were certainly participating and contributing to the success of the drill. So overall, I think that there was some learning going on there.
Yeah, well, the whole concept behind, the whole philosophy behind why you were doing that. Obviously, we ran practice last Friday, and you're looking at the drill that we did where we were trying to have two people defend one person, and you had to call out the color of the ball, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that was something that we'd never done before. What did you think? How do you think this practice went?
I thought it went good. I definitely struggled with calling out the color of the ball. I don't know if it was anything to do with me just not kind of looking ahead as opposed to making sure I got that ball, or if it was just coincidence that I never could pick up the color of the ball very well.
Are you talking about during this drill, or are you talking about the tennis ball drill?
I'm talking about just in general.
Just in general?
Both all kind of drills throughout the day. The tennis ball drill and this drill.
Do you understand why we were trying to do this drill, Joel?
Yeah, just to you mean the color of the ball drill, or?
Yeah, well, the whole concept behind, the whole philosophy behind why you were doing that.
Just trying to be aware of kind of what's going on around you, and be aware of make sure you're getting that ball, kind of focused on that ball when it's coming into you.
Now I know that you're saying the ball, but do you think this applies to more than just the ball?
Yeah, it's just your ability to focus on certain things in the court, kind of whether it be a certain play or a certain cue you're looking for. Say if you see the defender, if you're focusing on something and you see the defender come to you, then that would be a cue for you to pop. So if you're focusing on what the defender's next move is, I think that's kind of how I see trying to game more than just the ball.
Okay. Do you think that doing these drills will change the way that you are focusing on the court?
I don't know if it will. But I think I'm so focused on for me I got so many other things that I'm trying to think about that I kind of see if it would have the desired effect for me because I usually I'm focused on so many other things. Trying to narrow my focus for that split second. It's definitely something I could work on, but trying to narrow my focus for that split second.
Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily trying to narrow your focus, Joel. Trying to just try to make you aware of what you're looking at and how long you're looking at it, right? So, and trying to pick up, trying to get you to look at things earlier, I guess, is another thing that I'm trying to accomplish with this. So how do you think, based on the practice we ran then, could we modify this to be more applicable to things that you're thinking about and seeing on the court?
Modify. Definitely something to think about. I don't really know.
Well, if you don't have an answer, it's not a big deal. Like, just say you don't really know. Let's see what else. Do you think you learned anything in this practice, Joel?
Yeah, I think maybe it did expose a little bit of my, not kind of being able to focus on too many things at once, or being able to, focus on one particular thing throughout a sequence of plays or throughout a play.
Do you want to try it again?
Yes, I would like to try it again.
Okay. That's 5 minutes, Joel. I think that's plenty of time. I'm going to stop the recording.
So I've known Joel for quite a while, and I don't think that I was surprised by any of his answers. I thought that maybe when I asked him if he thought this practice would help him, and he replied no, I thought that maybe he would have reflected on that a little bit differently and found a way that this practice could have helped him. But I know that from watching Joel play that he tends to be one of these guys that does keep his head up. So that may, this may not be as crucial a drill for him as it is for some of the other guys. I definitely believe that his answers were authentic. I've known him for a while, and he's definitely an honest young man. Did his answers help me understand his needs? I could tell by the tone in his voice that he was struggling to understand why he didn't see what the colors on the balls were. I think that my first step in trying to help him understand, well, just to give him a second chance at these drills and see if there are different results. And then based on that, we will just reevaluate and continue to work with him if it turns out to be a problem. So in conclusion, I'd like to say that I think that I enjoyed running an innovative practice. I don't think this is the first time that I've run an innovative practice. I've used I've done trust and communication techniques by doing blind relays. I've used video analysis to work on read and react. And I have to admit, when we first heard about this assignment, I thought that I would have this inspiration as to what to do, and it actually took quite some time, as I mentioned before, some of Dave's classes before I really was inspired as to what my innovative practice would be. I think that I ran an effective practice. If I could go back, I would have been a little bit more prepared with interventions about gaze control. But like I said, I think that really I was trying to get the athletes to recognize what they were looking at and when they were looking at it, so they could reflect on it, and then we could continue to work. And then lastly, we'll continue to progress the gaze control. Today I did a relay where they had to wheel around cones while dribbling the ball, and I had them constantly shifting their focus to things like the clock and the position of other players on the court, just to continue to get them to work on their gaze control. So thank you very much, and have a great evening.